Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing this afternoon? We thank you for being here for Book Notes. And we are delighted that we have an absolutely incredible human being who is with us, who is joining us, none other than Kim. Come on, you all can do a little bit better than that. Come on. We're grateful that you all are joining us, those who are joining us here live, and we have a huge audience online. We are thankful for those who are online. You can talk with our digital pastor. There is a crew right over here. They are taking those questions online. We will get to a point in the conversation where you can send that information. But what I'm going to ask for everybody online, you better be putting up some really nice emojis throughout this entire thing if you are blessed to be able to share. But we're going to begin, because we are here at Trinity United Church of Christ for our Book Note series. We want to begin in prayer. So let us go to the Lord in prayer at this moment. Gracious and most merciful God, we are grateful and thankful for this opportunity to be in your house. And we thank you for the gift that you have placed in Brother Kim and the publication of Share My Life, of how he shares his struggle and how you have been walking with him throughout that struggle and elevating him to the position where he is now sharing not only words of love, but words of empowerment to people all across the globe. We thank you, O God, for this moment in this conversation, and we offer this prayer in the mighty and wonderful name of Jesus. And the people of God who love God may say, amen. Amen. Just a few house cleaning items. I believe that they are selling books in the back. Is that afterwards? It's closed now, but after they will be selling books in the back. We will also have the book signing immediately following the conversation that we have today. And so we're again thankful that you are with us, and I am looking forward to this conversation with our brother Kim. Brother Kim, welcome to Trinity United Church of Christ. Is it on? I think it's on now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How y'all doing? Good. Thank you for having me, Pastor Moss. I appreciate it.
It is really a delight to have you here. And I'd really like to begin with your birth or your birthday, which July 23rd. Now, that's not the day he was physically born, but that's the day that he was transformed.
Oh, so you didn't know? That is also
Your birthday.
my biological birthday.
Wow. Come on.
Yeah.
So tell us the story of that transformation in your life.
July 23rd of 1990, I was sleeping outside on the banks of the Detroit River behind a Salvation Army treatment center that had kicked me out a week prior because I was drinking in the facility. I was 23 years old. I left my parents' home when I was 19. I used to say my parents kicked me out, but I left my parents' home when I was 19 because of my addiction had just started. My mom is a recovering alcoholic, and she don't mind me telling y'all. And she had just gotten sober, and I was just starting out on my career as a full-blown alcoholic and drug addict. So I left her home. So at 23, this was the last, 23. And people think my story is rags to riches, but it's really, in a sense, the story of the prodigal son. We had 2 cars in the garage. My parents graduated from, my dad graduated from Tennessee State. My mom graduated from Wayne State University. I had every opportunity afforded to me to go to school and to do the things that we want for our children, you know, but I was sleeping outside at 23 years old, eating out of trash cans, wondering what happened to my life. How did this, you know, my peers or people, my friends or people I had gone to school with, they were out on dates, they were in college, they were starting their careers at the movies, you know, out to dinner, doing this thing, and I'm eating out of trash cans, like, what's happening? And that was the night of my surrender. That was the night that I gave up on the idea that I, by myself, alone, with my own intellect, with the same thinking that got me in the situation that I was in, I gave up on the idea that I could solve my problem. Right? And there was no flash of light. There was no, you know, it wasn't that, you know. And as a matter of fact, I was drinking a can of King Cobra. I know none of y'all know nothing about that. Right? I was nursing the can because I was trying to get through the night so I could get back in this place. And but I was just like, you know, I'm done. I'm done. And I wrote my book because I want to express that, in part because I want to express the idea, the truth that when you're done, there are places in our lives where we got work to do, where we need to do something, we need to do the footwork. You ask God to move a mountain, you get a shovel, right? I believe that. But there are places where you have to be done. Right? Right? Because God was looking at me like, yo, so dog, you done? Are you finished? You finished? If you're finished, now I can come in and I can do what I need to do. But you got to be done. Right? I'm sorry, I talk too much. You can stop me anytime, right? So that was the night of my and the transformation didn't start right. I mean, the opening. There's an adage I love that says, "When the student is ready, the teacher appears." So I became open to let God come in and do the work that needed to be done. And the work wasn't going to be done overnight. The work is still being done, right? There was no, okay, so now I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be cool. It's like, no, you got to wake up tomorrow. It took you however long it took you to get to this place. It's going to take you some time to get out of this place. But now we can start. You know, it was one of the most transformative experiences of my life.
You talk about in your book that silence and secrets are deadly.
Yeah.
And you also share that you called your grandmother mother.
Yeah.
And your mom.
Yeah.
How did being a part of a silent family contribute to you moving in the direction where you needed this rebirth?
We just, you know, I mean, that's the culture that we grew up in. And I'd like to say it's not exclusive to African Americans, but my experience, you know, that with the song "We Don't Talk About Bruno" is that, right? This is grown folks' business. You should be seen and not heard. And we didn't have the language for ADHD and you know, mental health issue, you know, depression, and you know, I think I'm depressed. You walk in your house talking about you depressed. We all depressed. Right? You put your head down and you power through it. You get up, you go to school, you get up, you go to work, regardless of how because there are bills to be paid, there are things that we need to do. And there is a place where it is appropriate to put your head down and power through. But that ideology comes with limitations when you're dealing with stuff like mental health, when you're dealing with things that need to be addressed. You know, and so silence was, you know, we didn't talk about things. We didn't talk about, you know, my mom, and you touched on in today's sermon was just so, right? I talk about the dysfunction in the book. I talk about the dysfunction in my household, but the dysfunction in my household didn't start in my household. This is a history of not talking about stuff, not confronting what's really going on. We walking around all these elephants in our lives, and everybody acting like they ain't there. But it's like, dude, look, y'all don't see this? And as children, as a kid, it was like I'm like, dude, this is, you know, but no, but we didn't talk, you know, like this is crazy. But we never talked about anything. We didn't have the, I wrote my book. I went way around the block to not denigrate, to not disparage, to not dishonor the people that I love. I only told enough of their story in order to tell mine. But I do put a lot of our stuff out there. And so I don't blame my parents. We've done a lot of great work to get to but I don't blame them. I went home, I got sober. I was sober maybe a year and a half or 2 years, and I was sober like for real. And I walked in, my mom had me over for Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving dinner, first time I was back in the house, and I'm washing dishes. I'm standing at the sink, and I'm talking to my mother because I'm doing all this work and doing inventory on myself and learning about myself and coming to myself. And I turned to my mother and I said, you know, I realized through this process that I have a lot of your issues. And my mother didn't skip a beat. She turned to me and she said, they are your issues now. So I say that to say, there's a place where we hold the people in our lives that have dropped us. We hold them, you know, forgiveness is not condoning. Yeah, you did this, but at a certain point, it's you 55 years old, you can't have issues with your mother no more. Right? It ain't their fault no more. Not now. Yeah, they did what they did, but it's your responsibility to live your life now. If you're not living your life, it's not their fault. You got to let them go. Right? I quit taking hostages. Right? And I have a 28-year-old, and we have the same conversation. Well, Dad, you know, you didn't raise me, we didn't get this, and we're like, I thought it was going to be, and you didn't do this, and you didn't do that. I'm like, yeah, that all me, and I could be the worst father in the world. But now it's your turn to live. So you got to take that, and you got to work that out. And I'm here with you. Right? I'm here with you, but like, this is not, you know, so my parents have been, you know, I don't hold anything again. I had the exact, and had my parent, had they been different, had things been different, I might not be sitting here today.
You do something I think is really powerful in the book, and I encourage everyone to pick up a copy of the book because he does a fantastic job. The way in which you write about your grandmother and your mother, you share some of the challenges, but you really paint a picture of they did the best. They knew how, and they loved fiercely. They loved you fiercely. You could share a little bit about your grandmother, this Pentecostal woman from Tennessee, who would travel 25 miles to go back to the Pentecostal church.
Go back to the church, yeah. She, you know, 13 kids. You know, and they had kids because the kids worked property for the dude, and like that's how they lived. That was their livelihood, right? So sharecroppers, and she didn't take anything. You know, if she didn't like the way that she was treated, she'd pack everybody up in the middle of the night and move someplace else. And they wouldn't talk about it. Nobody knows why we moving. But she was the matriarch of the family. I called her mother, but we all called her mother. That was big. That was mother was a way of us saying Big Mama, right? Pentecost, love the Pentecostal church. My mother's father was also a minister. My biological father, his father was also a minister. I was born in 1967. My mother was pregnant with me when she was 17 years old by a teacher in her high school. In 1967. And both your parents are preachers. And my mother she finished high school, went on and got her she was just like, dude, I'm just, so born into the auspices of the shame that surrounds that, So all of those seeds were planted early, in my life. And like as kids, we don't even know we don't even know, right? It's just this stuff is just passed on. We don't have a name to call it. We don't know. But my mother and my grandmother, they were the most influential and inspirational women, the pillars of my life. My mom still is. She's a pillar of my life. The courage that it took for me to sit here today, is from these strong women in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one of the most poignant things in your book is a conversation that you and your mother don't have.
Yeah.
When you were putting together the application for your driver's license.
Yeah.
Because of a conversation that you and your father also had.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how that experience shaped you. The relationship with your dad, which you'd also indicated that you all are still developing and working, and then the silence around certain conversations in your family.
Yeah, I didn't find out that my biological father, that the man that I call dad and that I still call dad is actually, in worldly terms, is my stepfather. I didn't know that he wasn't my dad until I was getting ready to start high school. And I found out because I was going through his stuff, or going through stuff in his desk, and found my birth certificate. And his name wasn't on it. Right? So I was 13, 14 years old when that happened. I didn't have a conversation about that. Was never spoken. It was never spoken that I had that information until I was applying for my driver's license and I was 18 years old. And we never had a conversation about it. My mom saw the application. She's like, "Why is your last name? Why are you using this last name?" I'm like, "Well, that's the name that's on my birth certificate." Right? It's like, you know why I'm not. You're like, you don't know why I'm not. You tell me why I'm writing this name on here. That didn't happen that way, though. That ain't what happened. But she asked me, and I said, "Well, that's the name that's on my birth certificate." She asked me if I had any questions, and I said, "No, I don't have any questions." I said, "I'm cool." "Is there anything that you want to know, Kim?" I said, "No, I'm cool. I'm good. I'm good." And we didn't talk about it. We didn't really have a full-throated conversation about that until after I was sober, probably. And my dad too. We didn't talk about it. They had their reasons for not sharing that information, and as a kid, it was like, this was not a safe place to bring this up. I don't want to rock the boat. The house is already everything is already incensed and inflamed. So, like, you know what? I'm just really I'm not gonna have this conversation. I don't even have the coping skills to begin to understand at 12, 13, 14 years old how to have this conversation and the necessity of and how important it is to have this conversation. You know, I grew up internally thinking that my job was to keep everything cool and keep everything, I want everybody to get along, I want to be the peacemaker, I want to make sure that everything is cool, but we need to have the hard conversations. And if you can't do that, and for me, I'm speaking from, it's like if you can't do that, if you can't do that within your family of origin or within your household as a child, then what's your marriage gonna look like?
Wow.
Right? Right? Because marriage, look. Right? Because you can't, I'm 55 now. It's like you can't get up and leave the room when you don't want to talk about it. Right. And you can't not talk about it. The hard conversations are the ones that need to be, those are the most important ones to have. Pull the scab off. And we're afraid that we're going to lose something that we have, or we're not going to get something that we want, or that somebody's going to leave. We have a difficult conversation and the truth is laid out on the table, and it causes us to no longer be in partnership, then that doesn't mean that wasn't the conversation to have. Then maybe our destinies maybe we're not supposed to be together. Right? Maybe I'm not supposed to be connected to this. You know, if we can't stand up in the truth, then what are we doing? We're holding hostages. I don't want you to leave, so I'm not going to look, I'm going down a road that which I don't have the expertise to really.
You're doing it. You're doing well. So when you share all of that, what is it that you want to share with your children that you didn't receive?
My relationship with my children is I want them to, I want them to be open. I want that, I just want to tell you like what it is. I want to share with them and watch them learn from me. I want them to know the principles that I've learned to navigate my life. Surrender and trust God and let go and help other people and tell me what you're feeling. How you doing? You all right? And not, and we, and sometimes I think that in our culture today, it's like it's overkill. No, you should experience some, the heartache of being disciplined. Right? The heartache of not getting what you want when you want it. I don't believe in participation trophies. You need to know that you lost. Right? Right? Ice cream after the game is for winners. Right? No, you need to know. That's what made me like want to, okay, so how do I get better? If everybody won, then I don't know how, if we all won even though we lost, if everybody won, then how do I get better? Where's my motivation to, the grind and the struggle and learning? It's like all of those things. We always hear people talk about, well, if you could go back and you could change things. Well, first of all, it's like, I can't. But even if I could, what I can say, though, is that, of course, I would not make some of the same decisions that I made today, knowing what I know now. It's like, I wouldn't do that again. But I'm grateful that it happened the way that it happened, because that struggle and that conflict and that grit is why I'm sitting here today. knowing what that is. So I want to impart that to my children, and leave them, you know, I don't want them to have to start over. Y'all shouldn't have to, you know, our kids, we just in our communities our kids shouldn't have to start from, y'all ain't got to start from scratch. And not just financially, I mean emotionally and all that. I want them to have emotional intelligence, have emotional intelligence. You know what I'm saying? So when my son is driving when he's 16 years old and get pulled over by the cops, he has emotional intelligence. You know, I'm not triggered. I want them to have that, to impart that to them. So that is my hope, and that is my hope. So we do the work, and then let God do the rest.
Now, I want to stick with the idea of struggle. When you were talking about struggling, there is a statement that an elder gave to you when you were leaving the program, and I thought it was very powerful. You thought you were leaving the program, and he was very clear. He said, "No, you're taking the program with you."
Yeah.
Wherever you go.
Yeah.
Share some thoughts in reference to the program that you are still a part of.
The principles of recovery are the same for everything that we're trying to do in life. They're not exclusive to. The 12 steps are, you know, so the 12 steps actually came out of the Bible. They came out. It was a Christian organization.
That's right.
It was a Christian organization. And they turned them into the 12 steps so you can get everybody in. You can't, you know, we want everybody to come in and get this, right? So you can get it. But a lot of places in the Bible we're talking about whosoever. It don't even say you got to be saved. It say whoever does, you do this, this is going to be the outcome. So the principles are, you don't have to be in recovery. Every financial book that teaches you how to straighten your finances out, gonna tell you to do a budget, take inventory, what's actually going on, look at yourself. It's look at yourself, surrendering, understanding there's a problem here. That's not exclusive. You don't need to stand up and say I'm an alcoholic. You can say I'm an overspender. I'm an overeater, right? Right? It's surrendering, and for me, it's relying on a power greater than myself, who I choose to call God through the work that was done on the cross of Jesus Christ. So the surrender is faith. It's being honest. Honest with self, honest with people who you come in, you know, being of integrity. It's all the stuff that's in the book. I shouldn't have to cross the street when I see you because of something that we got, you know. No, this is what it is. Tell you the truth about what it is. Yeah, I owe you $5. I don't have it today. When I get it, I'll give it to you. As opposed to ducking and dodging and diving and like, no, when I get it, I'll give it to you. And I mean that, and know and be of a person of an integrity, so that when you say that, they know that you're going to do that.
Right. Right.
Making amends, making room for people. You know, I try, and I'm not, you know, I try to grant people the same grace that I need to receive. I try to. I try to. Right? We're all broken.
Yeah, yeah.
We're all trying to get to this, you know, we're all trying to, you know, find a place of security. And that security is in my faith, and from living these principles, practicing the 12th step talks about practicing these principles in all our affairs. All my affairs, I see everything through that lens. Even when I'm not doing what I know I should be doing, if I'm not operating in my right mind, I still know what that is.
Yes, yes.
And I know where I need to return to. I know what's going to get me back on the thing, you know? So I wrote this book to, dude, these are sacred days we living in. The pandemic was a test drive. Right? We talking about like the world is, and we want to make it better, we want to be it right. But if you believe the book, like it's supposed to be crazy right now. So those of us who have the light, or who are in the light, and who know what the book says, and who know the principles of being, we're the light, they're looking at us. So in order for us to be effective, you can't carry a message that you don't have. That's good. Right? So you got to get it, we got to do that. We have to do that. Not for us, but for somebody asked me, it's like, well, she said, what is your vision for world peace? It's like, God didn't send me to get a world peace. But the real answer to that is for me to get my world right. I don't have to be concerned about the world. I need to be concerned about where I am right now, the people that I touch, my family, and be able to operate on a high spiritual level, on the highest possible spiritual level possible within my life. I need to be able to demonstrate the promises of the book, the promises of God. I need to be able to demonstrate in my life. And that's what impacts the lives of other people. So, yeah, I answer your question.
Yes, sir. So you leave the program, and I have to say, brother, you were hustling. Yeah. You were hustling for years, selling CDs from space to space in Detroit. You had your own CDs pressed, and then you were going to different shops.
Yeah, Production Pro was here in Chicago. George Daniels was selling my records. Floyd's. Yeah, yeah. I was shipping them directly from my house to his store. Wow. Yeah, American Express. I talk about in the book. My mom used to sell Mary Kay, so I was selling Mary Kay.
My mother did too. She was a director for Mary Kay.
Yeah, mine too. Right.
That's right. I even know the theme songs. I was like, you know the theme songs? I
don't know the theme songs.
I know theme songs. I had to listen to them when I was a kid. I got that Mary Kay feeling down in my feet, down in my feet, down in my feet. I got that Mary Kay feeling up in my heart today. Yeah, I know them.
So that was good. I had to take that with me. Somebody should be taping that. I need a tape of that. Show my mother. So she was selling Mary Kay. I was selling Mary Kay. I was up under her. She wanted me to. She knew someone at a bank that she was getting the people up under her. He would give them loans, and they would pay the loans back. But he would give them loans, approved loans, and then they would buy product and they would sell Mary Kay. So my mom said, this guy, go see him, he'll give you a $2,000 loan and you can buy some Mary Kay and then we can, get our Mary Kay, improve our Mary Kay hustle. So I went down and saw the guy, got the loan, and I bought a keyboard. Right? At the time, and my mother's graceful, she never said anything. But I know she has some feelings behind that. But she's cool today, though. But I went and bought a keyboard. And I paid this loan back. I had messed my credit up as a teenager. And I paid the loan back, and I paid the loan back, and I paid it back, and I kept paying on it. And then when it was done, I took out another loan. They gave me another one. So I paid that one off, and I paid that down, and I paid that down. And I got an American Express credit card. And then, which was, but I didn't really, I protected my credit more than I protected anything else. Right? I would make sure, and I was doing this dance and I was learning. It was a struggle. It was the grind. I would get eviction notices. And I was working a couple of jobs, trying to figure out how to, keep the lights on and pay the rent. And I would get eviction notices to the point to where I knew when it was coming. I knew what the process was. I knew how many days I had. Once we went to go see the judge, I knew how many days after that I need to come up with the money, and I know I'm gonna make 50 on this day, 50 on this day, 50 on this day, and I was doing this then. I had this American Express credit card where I would go to the mall and I would buy whatever I wanted, and then I would try to figure out how to pay it off, because American Express don't take payments, right? You gotta pay the whole thing off. That's right. So I'm doing this whole dance, and I walked into, and it was always crazy. I was always on the phone. I knew that if I paid a bill on the phone on a Friday, that it was after a certain time, it wasn't going to post to the right. Am I talking to somebody in here tonight? Right? I had it all. I had it, But it was, So I'm doing that dance, and I walked into a mall in Detroit, in the suburb of Detroit. It was a Banana Republic. Well, I walked into the mall, and the store was Banana Republic, and I saw something in a Banana Republic that I wanted, and I had my Amex with me, and I was getting ready to walk in, and I was tired of doing that dance. I was angry because I felt like I should be able to go into this store and buy whatever I want. I shouldn't have to So that day I didn't make that purchase. And that was another transformational moment in my life. Come on. I didn't make that purchase, and then the church I was going to, they had a class called 4T, which was tithing of your time, your talent, and your treasure. And I started tithing. And I started looking at how much money are you making? You're making this much. How much do you need? You need this much. Okay, so let me go get a job to make sure that I can cover, so I started looking at the whole thing differently. And I had been paying, so my credit was good though. I'm paying American Express off. And I got to a place where we were trying to record the first album. I recorded it live, and I didn't like it, and I wanted to go into the studio and record chemistry for real. And called American Express back, and they gave me a business line of credit of $17,000. I was ready to do that then, right? I was trying to get a record deal since I was 19 years old, but I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the discipline or the maturity, right? If I had had a $17,000 line of credit when I was 19 years old, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So the season, in due season. It don't happen when you think it's supposed to happen necessarily. And now I understand, I'm grateful that it didn't happen when I wanted it to happen. It happened when it was supposed to happen. And where God could get the glory, because you're not supposed to be 34, 35 years old and get a record deal. That's not supposed to happen. So I took the $17,000 business line of credit and recorded the chemistry album. I was working at the Ritz Carlton. I was waiting tables. I started singing in a choir. I started singing in a wedding band. I went to the hotel. I went to my day job and told them that I would not, that they needed to find somebody to come in and cover my shift the next day. Not 2 weeks. Y'all need somebody tomorrow. Well, you want to go to human resources and talk about that. I went to human resources, and she was like, well, you give us 2 weeks, then you can have there's a bridge for you to come back. It's like, nah. And it's not the job. We think we hate our jobs. My job was my friend. My job helped me pay my credit card so that I could get good credit so that I could buy a keyboard so that I could write love calls so that I could go into the studio and I could record chemistry. The job is your friend. I'm not trying to, it wasn't about me, I need to get out of here because y'all, it ain't y'all, it ain't them, it's us. We're frustrated we're frustrated with our jobs because there's something else that we're trying to get to. But you can't put your job down in order to get to it. Your job, you have to, let's change the way that I'm looking at my job. My job is my friend. My job is teaching me discipline. My job is teaching me how to submit to authority. My job is helping me keep my lights on. My job is providing for my children. You don't quit your job to pursue your dream. Your job is a part of the dream. The dream is usable. The dream, I'm trying to get to this. No, this is the dream right here. This is the dream right here. This is the dream. There are jails, drunk tanks, penitentiaries, mental institutions, and cemeteries that are filled with people who would love to have your job, who would love to be living the life that you live in, right? So I recorded the chemistry album, and I didn't have a 5-year business plan. It was just about doing whatever the next right thing was. I sent people to Chicago to pass out CDs on the streets. When they were doing that, just pass, it's like put the music, I gave the music away. I gave it away. It wasn't about making money. Although I like making money now, look. But it wasn't about, I'm not doing this so that I can make money. I'm doing this because this is what I believe I was sent here to do. This is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And my gift made room for your gift will make room for you. So I don't know if I answered your question or not.
You definitely answered the question. And I want to stay on that hustle piece and the job, because you stated it, and I think you even clarified it even more. Being at the Ritz Carlton taught you how to be a 5-star artist.
For real. Right? What I learned at the Ritz Carlton and their management style, it was like we were like, you walk through the doors in the back where we all came in, where we entered to start our shifts. So we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. 5-star. We go the extra mile. You take the time to make sure that the job is done right. Operate with excellence. It was an invaluable experience. The hardest thing I ever, and I took, the training to get in the door was, that I got there, somebody said, you know what, I was waiting tables, and somebody said, he was a cook at the Ritz Carlton. He said, you fit in good down there. You should come down there and apply. And I applied and took we trained for like 90 days, and you have to take this test. I failed the test the first time. We have to take it again. So I would take, you have to set up a table and, and no, salad fork, dinner service is up at the top, what side it goes on, where to serve from, always put the lady's plate down first. You don't remove any plates from the table until everybody's finished. It was operating with that. And I was operating in an environment to which I aspired. These people were coming in, these executives and these people from all over the world. And, Oprah was staying at the hotel, and Tina Turner is staying in the hotel, rehearsing in one of the ballrooms. And and people, they got cufflinks, and they, I'm like, yeah, I'm working here. Yeah, but this is,
You got a BA in service from Ritz Carlton University.
And service is what it is, right? It's service. So with the music, it's like, my musicians will tell you, Kim is crazy in the studio. right? And not in a belligerent, just like I'm gonna, let's figure out how we're gonna get to what it's supposed to be. Let's take the time to do that, Let's figure out. It's like we're not, we're creating something that is this is special. So we need to do it with excellence. Everything, and be on stage and like do it with excellence. It doesn't mean that we hit the mark every time, but it means that is the goal, right? And that is the aim, right? I recorded the Chemistry album, and I knew that my album, I was recording it knowing that my album is going to be sitting next to, is going to be on the same shelf as Luther and Patty and Shaka Khan. And Michael Jackson's gonna be over there, and Prince is in the back, and Brian McKnight, and Boyz II Men, and OJ's, and Maze featuring Frankly Beverly, and like your record is gonna be up here with them, right? So you need to record it in a way and put the work into it so that you're sitting up here with them. If you making a record that's gonna be up here, it needs to be like that. And I don't, and again, it was the first record. Like I wouldn't do most of the things that I did on the first record that I do on the records today. But that was the one. And that's the one that people are endeared to. But the goal was, it needs to be as good as everything else up here. So, yeah, and I learned that. I learned that at the Ritz Carlton.
Now, while you were at the Ritz Carlton, you also got a chance. It put you in a position to meet George Duke, Al Jarreau, and David Sanborn, correct?
Yeah, I met Al Jarreau for the first time as a waiter. Yep. And I was trying to give him, and I had recorded the Chemistry CD. I had copies with me all the time. And we weren't supposed to, Right. But I'm like, you know what? Look, So I tried to give one to George Duke. George, he didn't accept, he was like, people try to give him music on the road. He's like, I don't take music on the road, send it to, he wanted me to mail it to him, which I did not do. And then I was going to give a CD to Al, and we started talking. He's got this song called Blue and Green, Tapestry, on Heaven and Earth album, and and I listened to it, and it just blew my mind, and I was telling him that. I was having this conversation with him, and he was, telling me about Miles Davis and Gil Evans and working on this music, and we're having this conversation. It was like, this is not the moment to be trying to give him, and Al was not, he wasn't a music executive. He's not going to get you on. Al was not going to get you on, right? He's an artist. He's like, but he sold into me just by having a conversation, just sat there and talked to me, and then years later I would see him. The first time I saw him after that was at the Long Beach Jazz Festival, where I was opening on the show that he was headlining. Wow. Right? And I had the chance to see him several times throughout my career. He was always gracious to me, always wanted to work together. He wanted to do an album called Alchemy. Yeah, we're gonna do this record. We can call it Alchemy, Because people always equated me to Al, when especially the first album. It was like, but he was, one of my biggest musical regrets is that we didn't have an opportunity to. We did shows together, I think, but we never recorded anything together. Yeah.
So let me do this. So you started talking about music because you then receive your first contract with Motown. Yeah. So let me ask you this. What artists would you, living or past, would you, if you had an all-star lineup of people you would like to work with? Not just singers, but also band members, saxophonists, trumpet players, whatever. Who would it be? Who would those people be?
I would like to do a record with Al. I would like to do a record with Quincy Jones. I would like to do a record with Sade. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That would be a good time.
Yeah, Sade would be like, that would be, that, Yeah, y'all pray for that. Pray for that to happen. Yeah.
So there's something that you say about an elusive chord, the lost chord, or the chord you were trying to find that was just following you. What was that like when you found the chord you had been looking for? You found the sound.
I'm still searching. There's not, and what I've learned is like there's not just one. You know, and that analogy is what my songwriting process is. I don't sit down with an idea. I sit down and I am and I'm just noodling around until I find something that I like, or find something that's interesting, and one chord builds upon the other, and then there's melody, and then the lyrics are the last thing. Yeah, but I'm still looking. I'm still searching, right? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. 20 years in the game, I feel like in many ways I'm still getting started. But I have enough wisdom today to get up every day and ask, like, yo, if this is not what you want me to be doing right now, then let me know what that is. Then, then let's move. I don't want anything that doesn't belong to me. Right? So I don't feel like I've arrived. I do feel like it's been good, but I'm not done yet. God willing, the next thing, will be the best thing.
Now, Valerie from Facebook asked this question: is there any part of your story, as you were writing Share My Life, that you experienced a new revelation or a deeper healing from?
I think the one thing that stands out is that my mom actually interviewed with David. And she told him, and David Ritz is my co-author, and who wrote books with Ray and Marvin Gaye and B.B. King and Lenny Kravitz and Aretha Franklin. So he's that guy in the celebrity biography realm. He interviewed my mom. So my mom was telling him stories that like I had never heard. She was giving him backstory, that like I was like, for real? A lot of stuff that didn't come in the book because it wasn't really mine. It wasn't mine to tell, So still peeling. So even after all of these years, still peeling back the layers of the onion, on our lives. Yeah, that was the most surprising thing.
Now, Pamela from Facebook asks, what scripture inspires you in your recovery?
All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. When I signed my deal, I had an anxiety attack and went on to find out that I was suffering from clinical depression and had to go see, a therapist. And I was on medication for a minute. I talk about that in the book. Because of the stigma that is sometimes surround that dude. It's like, And I was listening to a sermon, and one of my other favorites, and this passage, because I was terrified. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. It's not a God of confusion. And there's a verse in Corinthians that is at the top of my, I'll make you rich in every way so that you can be a blessing for God's glory, for his glory. Yeah, so I can't quote them all, but
That's a good
I'd
start.
be like, I don't need to know.
That's a
I don't
good
need to
start.
know them all. I just need to know the ones that apply to me.
That's right. Gloria asks, how do I forgive myself and others for past trauma? I feel stuck and stifled by my past.
That's heavy. Forgiveness is a choice. When we don't forgive people, we're giving them power over us. If every time I think about you, I feel some type of way, a negative way, dude, it's like that. Like you in my head like that. Every time I think about you, I ain't got no peace.
That's free rent. That's like...
Right? You are, I'm giving my power belongs to you. And they're not thinking about you.
Right. Right. Right.
Hey, at Starbucks getting a triple mocha tall latte. Ain't thinking about you. It's not in forgiveness, and it sounds trite because we hear it all the time and people say it all the time. Forgiveness is not for it's not for the other person, it's for you. And it's not letting them get away with it. It's not condoning. It's not, you might be right. And people are definitely wrong, you know, but it's like, I can't hold on. I can't hold on to that. I have to let that go. Yeah.
Now, there's a question that we have here that says, Kim, on your journey, has there ever been a time when you felt God did not hear you and that God was silent? How did you get through that time?
Oh, when he says no? I have to, you know, was there ever a time when I felt like he didn't hear me? I don't know. I don't know that there's ever been a time where I felt like God didn't hear me. But if the overarching theme of my life is that I know that his hand is on my life. I know that sometimes me not getting what I want is a good thing. For a myriad of reasons, right? Some of the things that he's taken away, some of the things that he's taken out of my life have claw marks on them. But today, I'm glad they're gone. You know? So I just have to trust that it's all working together. I don't really ask for stuff. I don't ask for stuff. You know, it's right, like if I could just boil my thy will be done. You already know what I want. And I don't even know that what I want and my motives and like why, it's like, dude, so just do what you could, I got a song like that, do what you got to do. Just do what you got to do. You know, just do what you got to do, you know. And I have to trust that it's gonna be okay. And I'm gonna end up where I'm supposed to be. There were a lot of times along the road to getting the record to making music where like I didn't know and there wasn't anything happening and it was quiet for a long time. And it's like, well, you know, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep doing what it is and keep doing the right thing, what you believe to be the right thing, and just keep doing that. And be faithful in that. When you want God to be faithful to you, then be faithful to this thing and just do it and let it unfold the way that it's gonna unfold. You ain't gonna miss nothing. Whatever he has for you It's waiting for you. You ain't gonna miss nothing. Yeah, so.
We have a question from Milan. What advice would you give to an aspiring artist?
To make sure that that's what you're supposed to be doing. People hate when I say that to kids. Why would you say that? Because I know people who are like 65 years old who's trying to get a record deal. Not for me to say whether or not you can get it or not, but it is for me to say, you know, maybe this is not what it is. In this age when everybody's on social media trying to be famous immediately. Right. Why do you want to pursue a career in music? Is this where your gifting is? Is this where your calling is? Just because mama said you sound good in the living room? Right? Why do you want to be famous? What is your motivation behind it? I don't want people to, I would not want any of my kids to spend their life chasing something that doesn't belong to them. Well, you think your blessing is over here and I'm gonna get all of this over here. No, actually, it's waiting over here on this other side. But you're gonna miss it because you're trying to get likes and followers. So, but if you can hear that and take that and receive that and pursue it anyway, then work hard and be disciplined and learn your craft and learn your instrument and read the books on the business and all of that. You know, but that first thing is crucial.
Brother Kim, this has been an incredible interview. I just want to say thank you. I have one other question that I have to ask everyone here and online. Would you like to hear Kim sing? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Brother Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir.
Can you share my life? That's what you want? Give it up again for Pastor Moss. And Trinity UCC, thank you for having me. If it makes any difference, I still love you, girl. You're my weakness, baby. Can I say baby in here? You changed my world, share my life, trust in me. Hey, you're all I want, baby, everything I need. If it makes any difference, I give you all my heart. Girl, my sunsets, anywhere you are, yeah. Maybe I'm a dreamer, you're still my queen. Your love's like a river, girl, it's running right through me. Hey, share my life. Hey, girl, you can trust in me. baby, you're all I want, baby, 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 everything I need, yeah. Give it up for him, y'all. Share my life, baby. You can trust in me, girl. You're all I want, baby, baby. You're everything I need. Yeah. Come on, girl. Share my life, baby. Hey, baby. Share my life, girl. Come on, girl. Give it up for the band, y'all. Make some noise for the band, y'all.
Up for Kim.
I hate to be the person that made them stop, but we do have an announcement. So now that our amazing conversation has concluded, what we are asking you to do is to please enter through the east door. So when you are coming out, if you want to go ahead and go buy that book, you can go ahead on and purchase it. If you have already purchased the book, go ahead and start forming that line. When you come, you still have to exit the east doors of the atrium. You have to exit out. And we will not be taking any pictures. So no pictures, only getting your book signed. So you can head that way. Thank you.